I feel like in the history of Jayco fifth wheels, Eagle was kind of like a fifth wheel that went to college and got a bachelor's degree. And I think they might have just gone back to graduate school and gotten their master's. Welcome, everybody. My name is Josh RV Nerd. This is the new generation 2026 Eagle here. And it's not that they completely reinvented themselves. It's that they took a couple notes from their big brother North Point and incorporated them here into their mid-profile series. And I think where Eagle has always worked best is when it's kind of like a baby North Point. But that sounds derogatory toward Eagle. That sounds like you're settling for something. If you compare this against the other things in its class, Reflection, Avenue, Cougar, things of that nature, this is a sharp offering. Now, it's very subjective. Personally, I like the direction they've gone with their decors. It feels a little bit rustic, but also a little bit vacation-y and light and fun. We do have, one-touch auto leveling on here, the dual power awnings, of course, Jayco's 2+3 year warranty going on. Their upgraded suspension package, the 3,000-pound towing hitch on the back in case you want to, bring along a small cargo trailer, depending on the length you're allowed to tow in your given state. Cargo pods, bike racks, anything like that. But it's the touches, the details, the fact that you have the dual whisper ducted 15,000 BTU air. So a 30,000 BTU standard centralized air system with a greatly reduced volume. That's like one of those day-to-day features that you can't experience when you're shopping for an RV, but when you're using one, you definitely experience the difference every single time you go camping. The direct view, easy view entertainment center where you don't got to crane your neck up, the maximized campsite windows. This has always been one of the floor plans from Jayco that has always really stood out to me, and I can't even put my finger on why, but I would ask you, as we go through this today, let me know what you like. Let me know what you dislike, what you would change given the opportunity. And if you appreciate how we share the good with the bad, because it does have a bit of both, hit that subscribe button. Let's get in there. And I've been a big fan of what Eagle's done for a number of years, but I felt like they kind of stagnated for a little bit. And there was a 2 to 3 year period there where they didn't change much. I don't know that they necessarily needed to, but it felt like when they were way ahead of the curve, some other guys caught up with them and maybe passed them. I think you could argue that they hit the accelerator and they got themselves back up to speed here real quick. It's very subjective. Now, the decor has been updated, lightened, and brightened up a little bit. Some people have said it feels a little too rustic for them. Some people have said, oh, this is awesome. I personally like it. I like it a lot myself, but that could just be my simpleton Midwestern boy ways. I don't know. I'm not a decor specialist, but it's got just enough of the geometric stuff to kind of trigger my brain while still feeling like a relaxing vacation inside. Like, I think they somehow skirted that really well. You won't see either of the 15,000 BTU air conditioners on this. Those are the two air returns that we're looking at because this has a dual whisper ducted air system. In the living room, that's nice because this is where you spend the majority of your time. So having less noise down here is an awesome benefit. I'm sure you can imagine, not wanting to have to crank the TV up to 11 just to watch I don't know. What show are you watching? What series are you watching right now? Leave me a note. Maybe it's something I want to watch, or we can talk about it in the comments section and not spoil things for each other. But what was I saying? Oh, up in the bedroom, the whisper ducted air up there, I think, is especially important because that's right on top of where you sleep. So it's nice to have that drowned out a little bit. This, by the way, this is all cloth touch decor. And they're using basically the maximum legal allowable amount of like Scotch guarding. So if you spill stuff on it, it's not going to instantly just soak right in and create a soppy mess, Obviously, you'll still want to get stuff cleaned up, but won't be terrible. The window coverage on this one, though, is absolutely this one's signature calling card. And like, it's so easy to look at this RV and go, oh my gosh, it's the same floor plan that everybody makes. There's a reason everybody makes this one because it nails major boxes extremely effectively. Like, it's not an accident that when Brinkley launched their first RV, it was this floor plan. Eagle calls it 321, Brinkley calls it 3100, but any big volume builder worth their salt is going to build something like this. Now, what's cool about that is, let's say you're like, yeah, I don't like this floor plan, but you're trying to figure out which RV brand builds RVs the way that you like them. look at this floor plan across a bunch of different brands because they almost all build it. It gives you an awesome comparison point. Now, all the little hardware for it is kind of tucked away neatly in the little shipping box, but this is one of those little 5-piece smart sinks that has the cutting board and the strainers and the all the other things effectively. I feel like that is supposed to be some kind of indirect lighting. Oh no, it is indirect lighting. It's just indirect lighting over here. I couldn't see it because it was indirect. Hey! All right, anyway. We're going to get back through, open up all the kitchen stuff, and I'm going to give the kitchen its own little day in court. Real quick, though, before we do that, a couple fun little details. Let me actually get you down here. The heat ducting system, at a glance, like a lot of RVs, it has no ducts in the flooring. But the thing is, it still has the heat run in the floor. Jayco created their own heating system. And effectively what you get is you maintain the efficiency and the warm floor of having ducting in the floor, but you maintain the easier cleaning nature of a ductless floor. I know that's using the word ducting a lot and asking you to picture stuff in the realm of imagination land, but there you go. Now, a couple other details here. When we sit down in this theater seat, it's boardwalk and park place. This is exactly, I think, where you want to be. You are exactly head level with this television, and it's as big as they could shove in there. And of course, it is a smart TV. Now, you see that blue glowy box down there? That's actually your Bluetooth system. You have two of those, one on the inside, one on the outside of the RV. You push one button, and the RV's speaker system on the inside will sync up with the television. You push the other button, and you can sync it up with some kind of whatever smart device you prefer. Real quick, before I start busting open all the kitchen cabinetry, you probably noticed the power outlets on the side of the island. You have one outlet under that overhead cabinet and then one down at easier level. I love the symmetrical nature of that kitchen setup, by the way. This is like default luxury fifth wheel kitchen arrangement, but again, executed very, very nicely. The only little nitpick I have kind of is just that set of power outlets is fairly far away from the that countertop. So depending on how long of a what do I want to say, power cord you have on your coffee maker, it could be a little bit problematic. Now, one of the reasons I think Eagle's really, really dialed in right now is because they have resumed in creating what I think is the perfect stepping stone moving up from a travel trailer. But before you get to a North Point, full Eagle has been taking notes from Big Brother. Eagle's had things like the blackout roller shades, but this extreme extension table system that they have here, for the most part, this is a couple's camper. We really only need spaces for two butts. But if you're going to have friends over, this table actually can sit 4 adults. Now, it does come a little bit close to the island when you do that, but I was able to squeeze my chubby cheeks through there just now, so I gotta imagine everyone's gonna make it just fine. Giving you a look under the countertop here. Now, keep in mind, in Eagles, all of your kitchen countertop stuff is all solid surface. If a manufacturer even gives me a spot for a wastebasket, I'm a happy camper. When they actually include one, I'm I don't know, happier camper. Plywood drawers down to the floors over here. Working our way around, you see that big old pantry against the wall over there. I like the indirect lighting. One of the things that's less obvious about that giant pantry is the fact that all of that shelving is adjustable. You might be able to see the tracks inside there. It's adjustable and removable shelving, so that you really get to kind of, customize things to your need and preference. 12-volt compressor fridge making another return for this year. The only thing I dislike on this fridge is that it takes a couple of those like nylon buckle straps, and you have to strap it down over the face of the fridge. It just, like, you'll actually notice the straps kind of sort of dangling down in this footage. It just doesn't look as aesthetically cool and pleasing to me. I'm sure that you could find a way to tuck those away, but it's just, I don't know, it's a tiny preference, but I'm literally looking for trouble with the map and glasses. This RV has very few, I think, did not mean to close it that hard. This RV has very few glaring challenge points. If the worst thing I have to say is I don't like the look of a strap, I think they're doing pretty good. And I always try to be fair. One thing I noticed, I think they silently removed was the soft close drawers through the Big Eagle series. It used to be when you, well, come on, Josh, weak arms. When you push these shut, they had that soft close function, and they don't seem to have that anymore. I don't know that that's necessarily a big deal. For me, it's literally not a big deal whatsoever. I don't care if it has soft close doors or not, or drawers or whatever. But I know some people like them, and it is a neat little, it feels nice feature. So I point it out when I see it. But hey, I noticed it, so I thought I would pass that along. Now back here behind the TV, you have a little bit of what I call pantry-tainment storage. But notice how that TV can pivot around. So if you do want to sit there kind of having like a rear sofa lounge experience, and like you want to stretch out on the sofa and watch something in a lazy afternoon, you got the perfect spot to do it. Also very handy if you have guests, great little conversation corner. Speaking of guests, we obviously have that hide-a-bed on the back, although I got the camera pointed a little bit high because I realized I forgot to open the storage above the sofa, which I think does count also. Very, like every ounce of storage counts. Had somebody one time, I think they were probably from another country, but they're like, why do you measure your storage in ounces in America? I said, they don't. I'm just weird like that. One thing I do like about this hide-a-bed is the locations of the power outlets beside it. But again, I try to be fair, and this isn't just a Jayco problem. This is an industry problem. If you look at this, it's not some weird trick of the camera. The headboard area of the bed is down slanted. Now, I know you're probably going to put a pillow or something under you, but like, it's not ideal. Then again, I don't think a hide-a-bed's intended to be the primary sleeper. Now, I want to mention my camera is not always friendly to things in the brown tone family. Have you noticed? Whoops, sorry, I almost dropped my camera. I'm so sorry about that. What was I going to say? Oh, there was like some weird color changing going on there. It's just this thing. And I am not a camera expert. I basically just hit the record button and I go, and the thing does what it does. So sometimes it gets a little wonky. My apologies. It's more of a me deficiency than anyone else. The BM Pro Smart Command System making a comeback this year, although it does not have the direct access buttons down here that I always liked about it. At this point, it even looks very similar to like the Lippert One Control system. Like the interfaces and everything look the same. I wonder if there's been some homogenization there. I don't know. I don't know the details of that at all. By the way, a crisp high five if we ever meet to anyone who can tell me what this object is right here. And FBI listening device does not count. They have maintained their, no ducts directly in the flooring throughout the RV. As we get up here, the bathroom has switched to thermal foil counters. Again, I want you to know everything. I don't want to like fail to mention something just because it's not always flowery or pretty. Now, this shower by default does not have a seat. If you look, let's say on the right side of the screen, you can see that there's plenty of headroom in here. One thing to know about this shower, though, is that it actually is shower seat prepped. So if you are someone who would like one of those folding seats installed, they basically have extra support and backers in the wall over here to slap one of those on there. That seems to be something a lot of brands are beginning to adopt now. Not universally across the board, but more and more builders doing it. I do like the headroom that we get in these Big Eagles. Where do we want to go from here? Working our way around, we do have a sliding true pocket door. A true pocket door actually hides in the wall like this. A lot of times when we see a sliding door in the RV industry, and I'm guilty of this, don't get me wrong, we call everything a pocket door, even if it's not. I don't know that it matters. Great space around the toilet, though. That does matter. That is something they do here very well overall, I think. And some pretty solid storage going on over here in this, linen cabinet. It is fairly deep, so kind of like I threw my hat in there in the top back of that thing. You might want to get some kind of wicker tote baskets or something to be able to pull some of that, distant storage toward you. Now, you don't have to look left or right because going full screen view, we have, the rest of the bathroom storage right here. Biggest thing I wanted to show you is the space, one, that it does have a medicine cabinet, and two, under the sink, you actually do have like decent wastebasket space. And that little bonus drawer at the bottom, I would like it if the drawer was up higher, but they can't because the plumbing is in the way, but at least they gave us a drawer. So, hey, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Now, part of the BM Pro system are these little black panels you might have seen around the RV. They have different buttons on them depending on where you're at in the RV. So their function is context sensitive. So like when you're walking in the bedroom, you need to turn your ceiling lights on, open and close your slides, etc. If you're sitting in the dinette, it might let you turn on and off the campsite lighting or open and close that awning or something like that. Like it gives you different functions that make sense based on where you're sitting. And once again, quick note, remember, you do have the whisper ducted air in here. The way I like to say it, if it kicks on in the middle of the night, it's not going to roar like Katy Perry. She made a whole song about that in case you're curious. Now, Eagles have an extra deep bed slide, very similar to a lot of big luxury fifth wheels. Brands like Eagle and Cougar are kind of that. They're really starting to flirt with a lot of luxury fifth wheel features without necessarily going all in on the big weight and budget. Don't get me wrong. They're not super inexpensive and they're definitely not super lightweight, but they're kind of finding their little niche there. Now, the bed that we're looking at here is one of those RV king size beds. It's not a true king size. You do have a 60 by 80 true queen option swaption, if that's what you'd prefer in an RV like this. Also, they redesigned their front end this year so that instead of a combo only washer dryer prep, or no, I'm sorry, side by side washer dryer prep. 3 or 4 years ago, Eagle actually went side by side prep, but they basically said, you know what, we're just going to build a full on big stack. Well, now the big black box we're looking at there, that's a Halo Elite Series griddle. That's an optional piece of equipment you can get on one of these. From what I've heard, talking to the people who've actually used them, that's one of the very few griddle cookers supplied by the RV industry that doesn't kind of suck. And I'm willing to believe it because I priced them out, and man, they cost a lot more than the basic cheapies most campers come with. Not that cost necessarily denotes quality, but I think most of us have observed there's definitely a correlation there. I forgot to activate my vampire powers. You get a little peek at me over here in the mirror. Whatever. Again, part of the redesigned front claws of this is that they found a way to really increase and maximize the storage while also increasing the space you can walk around the bed. This is another one of those notes that it became very popular very quickly in North Point, and Jayco basically said, yeah, we probably want to copy and paste that on as many of our RVs as we possibly can. Getting all that out of the way, again, you see how much space you actually have to walk around the bed. Now, I am unintentionally cheating a little bit because that bed decking does hang over. See, the thing here is the bed base, the white part, is queen-sized. So they extend the decking out so the bed doesn't slump on you when you go to the King upgrade. If you're looking at an Eagle in stock somewhere that has a King in it, in theory, the dealership, all they have to do is trim down the wood decking and slap in a queen bed. Now, if you get the queen from the factory, you actually get some nice side stands built in that you wouldn't have otherwise. But hey, I don't know, options. There you go. Now you know. Notice how you do have outlets on both sides of the bed kind of tucked away down there. Those are also inverter prep. That's what that little orange sticker is telling us. So if you add an inverter to the RV, or if you get one of the more advanced solar packages, you can actually, run those outlets off battery power. Although keep in mind, when you do that, you will deplete your battery reserves far more quickly. Now, giving us a look here in road mode with the slide closed. This is a Schwintek slide system, so I do not recommend occupying the bed while it is retracted. Different slides have different advantages, different drawbacks. We'll talk a little bit more about slide systems outside. I'll give you a look at all three of them. But in terms of what most triple slide fifth wheels offer, it's pretty similar and I think solid road mode. This one is snap and it's snack and crap-tastic, basically. You can get to the refrigerator, you can get to the toilet. Technically, you can get to the bedroom. Again, I'm just not necessarily recommending you use it. Now, one thing about this fridge-freezer setup, you can unstrap and access the right-hand door, but the left-hand one is going to be blocked a little bit by the island, and the freezer sections are going to be blocked by the island. Sometimes people wonder, why do manufacturers use the fridge and freezers that have two vertical doors? This is part of the reason why, to give you better travel access, potentially. And hey, sometimes things are awesome, sometimes things are not. My only goal is to tell you what they are and let you decide how they strike you. So if you appreciate that, I'm not trying to tell you what's good and what isn't. I don't know, maybe join us on the next one if you haven't subscribed to our videos. In the meantime, let's go see what kind of vehicle we need to hook up to this sucker. Now, Eagle's a lot of things, but ultralight is not necessarily one of them. I don't even know that necessarily any old 3/4 ton is going to be a good fit here. I think you want a heavier 3/4. And if you're going to be towing a lot, I don't know that you're going to be upset about having a single rear wheel 1 ton. That probably wouldn't be a bad pairing necessarily. Now, the thing is, there's actually a lot of single rear wheel gas 1 tons that would be an awesome fitting for this. You don't necessarily need to go insane heavy duty diesel, but if you're going to go up through some crazy mountain towing, you also might not regret it. So it really depends on where you're going to go and how you're going to use the RV. Back here on your, obviously you got all the campsite windows right on this super slide, but the second awning right on the slide face really maximizing the patio area. And did you notice when our video began in our earlier floor plan in a flash footage, as I like to call it, we saw these steps kind of defying gravity like David Blaine. The idea there is that this is something, because it's a big heavy quad step, you don't have to necessarily like blow out your rotator cuff to get to it. This has freaked a lot of people out. And I think that if you did some Google searching, you would probably feel a little better about it. But Jayco has moved away from doing Goodyears on stuff. These are Rainiers, which is actually a Goodyear-owned product. It's essentially the import Goodyear. There's plenty of advantages. It's still like a speed rating that is well above the the stated limit in your states, but it doesn't say Goodyear on it. So a lot of people aren't as familiar with it. And because it says import tire, a lot of people get very, very spooked by that. So if there's a thing like that, don't hesitate to contact our team. Or again, you can just Google, Rainier RV tires and learn about them. And if you still don't feel good about it, that's okay. Maybe that's not the right rig for you. Or maybe we just need to do a tire swap for you at one of our stores. We can do that kind of stuff. Really, the front awning on this is a little bit larger, and I do really appreciate it, actually. Working our way up front here, this is not a drop frame storage compartment, but this is the big Eagle. So there's 3 levels of Eagle. This is the top level of Eagle, and it gives us a large cavity in here. Now you saw that motion lighting kick on. You've got some motion lights on both sides. What's kind of cool is you have totally separate indoor-outdoor entertainment. That's what the little blue box in the HDMI wiring is for there. Now that black box is your solar charge controller. So you do have the, your factory standard, at least 200 watt solar package on this. Eagles do have the ability to go a bit further. Absolutely none of that carpeted felt material down here either. So this space is less likely to just hold moisture and get musty and mildewy. The blue-white canisters right there, those are your 3-stage water filtration system. And from what I've heard, because it's only been on the market for about a year, from what I've heard from owners, it does a heck of a job, and it can handle like multiple thousands of gallons of water before it ever needs to be, the filters need to be exchanged out. And man, I've been at some campgrounds that the water is, we'll just say, questionable. So that's something that I do appreciate. I really like the way that they've dressed up this nose cap. It looks so sharp and modern and angular. When you get straight on with this thing, like when you're looking in the rear view mirror of your vehicle, it looks awesome. That is, as I like to call it, a Kathleen head turner. Although I don't know that many people remember Kathleen Turner anymore. I think V.I. Warshawski was one of her most fun movies. I don't know that a lot of people really took note of that movie, but when I was a younger man, I was something of a movie buff. I've slipped off it since then, but that used to just be my thing. I just watched all the movies and I knew all the actors. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Moving on from there. Your upper deck slide is a Schwintek slide, and it is extra deep. That is one thing. That's another little note the Eagle has kind of noted from North Point over the years, is giving you that extra deep bed slide, just gives you that larger bedroom suite. Also, over here, just before I forget, you do have your very typical side saddle, here we go, propane system here. But notice how much extra space is at the top of this. At a glance, you might think that's because they used a smaller propane bottle. That actually is still a 30-pounder. They have a package that will generator prep this RV and upgrade from dual 30s to dual 40-pound propane tanks. So they give you an extra large baggage door to make that just a little bit easier. Back over here, we have our on-demand water heater. And in this floor plan, it's located directly below the bathroom and directly next to the kitchen. That's pretty much an ideal location for that. So your hot water service should be very fast, very functional. Your docking center, again, fully enclosed. Now, your underbelly also does have radiant barrier layering as well as forced air heating. All your full Eagle fifth wheels, and I think the HTs as well. Yeah, they are 0 to 100 degree rated, tested, and proven, which I think is a key detail there. Also, when we get down here, notice that like all of your sewer pull valves were in that docking center. The gate valve that you're looking down here is that don't end up with a mess kind of protection Valterra valve effectively. And that is one of those things that if you talk to a lot of experienced RVers, RVs that don't organically already have those things, they're going to recommend you go get one just because of the peace of mind and lack of problem that you could have. Now, you might have noticed if you're paying attention, we actually have 3 different slide systems in play on this RV. We already talked about the bedroom slide. Your kitchen slide over here is a Norco Exact slide. And then our big super slide with the windows on the campsite, that is a rack and pinion. If you want to learn more about different slide systems, advantages and drawbacks, both, I have a full video on that. And actually, I think I use an Eagle 321 RSTS as an example a bunch because it does have all the different systems. One last note for you. The bottom rear of the camper, you see that hitch sticking out. That actually is a 3,000 pound rated towing hitch with a 300 pound vertical weight limit. So as I always do, I'll leave you some links in the video description. If you want to see pricing, availability, that'll be one click away. You do not need to call a salesperson because keep in mind, the shipping distance and the option packages available on these could swing the cost of this RV over $10,000 very quickly. So on our website, we'll have each individual RV correctly priced. And it doesn't matter if you watch this video the day it comes out or 2 years from now. The link that I leave you, as long as the 321 RSTS is in stock somewhere, will always work for you. I'll also drop you some links to some other builders who have very similar floor plans. I mentioned a few when the video began. They all have their advantages. They all have their drawbacks. My goal is to help you figure out which one best fits you, because there's not just a best fifth wheel. It's which one is the best for how you want to camp. So if you appreciate that, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you then. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.